Story time on how I beat up my grandma. Yes, my grandma, you heard right. Let's get into it. Okay, so boom. I'm a 16-year-old high school student who finds myself at my grandma's house almost every day. My mom's a single mother and works 2 jobs, and instead of leaving me home alone, she always drops me off at my grandma's house. And this has been our routine ever since I was 5 years old. My mom just felt more comfortable leaving me at my grandma's house. But what my mom didn't know is that I'd rather stay home alone rather than going to my grandma's house. My grandma has been beating me up ever since I was 5 years old. She didn't beat me up for any valid reasons. She would just be mad at me for the smallest things. Like one time I broke her glass chandelier while I was playing with my ball and she hit me. Another time I broke her 50-inch TV by accident and again she hit me. Y'all wouldn't believe this third reason why she beat me up. Like for part 2. Part 2 on how I beat up my 76-year-old grandma. Okay, so boom, like I said, my grandma would always beat me up for the smallest things. None of her reasons were valid. She beat me up once for breaking her glass chandelier while I was playing ball. Another time I broke her 50-inch TV screen on accident and she beat me up again. She even would tell me to wash the dishes, and when I would tell her no, because I don't live here, I shouldn't be washing anything, she would once again beat me up for being quote-unquote disrespectful. All this hitting throughout the years and I was just over it, and my mom always siding with my grandma. Well, I'm 16 now and I was over it. My 76-year-old grandma should have learned to keep her hands to herself. So this particular night she told me to study, but I didn't want to study. I wanted to watch TV, so I told her no straight up. And things escalated. Like for part 3. Part 3 on how I beat up my 76-year-old grandma. Okay, so boom, like I said, my grandma told me to go study and I told her no, I wanted to watch TV. She said she was sick of my slick mouth and made her way over to hit me. But this time, oh no, I wasn't going for it. I pushed her away from me, then I punched her on her arms and her face. She fell down and started screaming in shock that I even hit her. Once my mom came home, my grandma told my mom what happened and my mom beat the living soul out of me. And my mom told me if I ever raised my hands to my grandma again, she was going to do more than just hit me with a belt. Truth is, my grandma never hit me unless I was rude or broke something, and that happened very often. Come to find out, I actually suffered from aggressive behavior in children and needed to get treated. Thank God I got treated and I'm better now. And me and grandma has a great relationship now. Don't beat up your grandma.
Am I the asshole for not forgiving my infertile friend after she got pregnant? For about 10 years, I, female 28, have been in a group of friends, 6 couples and 3 singles. One of the couples, Jane, female 32, and John, male 33, started trying for a baby about 6 to 7 years ago, and they found out that they most likely would never have a baby, at least not without help. They were pretty open about this with us, and we were all supportive. Neither of the rest of us were trying at that time, but they asked that whenever someone got pregnant, we would let them know in private and respect that they might need some space. Until 4 years ago, it was all fine between us all, but Jane still hadn't gotten pregnant and was struggling a lot, especially with several of our friends having babies, including me and my husband, male 32. Jane didn't want to be around us much, and she asked that we step down on contact. All of us with kids, that is. We understood and respected it, although of course we missed her. But after a while, she started talking bad about us to our friends with our kids and posting things on Facebook and Instagram, basically ranting about how awful we all were and that we were having kids to rub it in her face that she couldn't get pregnant. After about a year of this, I blocked her on everything. And I didn't hear from her until a few days ago. She is 7 months pregnant, and she wants to make up and put the past behind us, but I don't want to. I'm still hurt by the things she said about me and my kids and our friends. I understand she was hurting and struggling a lot with her friends having babies when she wanted to so bad, and I do forgive her, but I just don't want to let her back in my life. Most of our friends feel the same way, but our single friends and one couple who are child-free think that we are too hard on Jane and that we should forgive her. Basically, they are saying that since we all have kids, we should be more understanding because we, more than them, know how much Jane and John wanted kids and a family, and we understand their needs since we have it too. But Jane was really horrible and said awful, hurtful things, even though we did what we could to be respectful, supportive, and did all they asked of us. I just can't bring myself to be close with her again. Am I the asshole?
Am I the asshole for kicking my friend off of our vacation for making a joke about my boyfriend?
Yes.
So my friends and I are going on a trip next month to Miami. One of my friends in particular, Jay, has a very specific work schedule. We worked around this and got days of the week that are less convenient for the majority because we wanted to include her. She refuses to take off work for the trip, despite going on multiple week-long vacations with other people since April.
Well, she's out of paid time off.
Still, though, we did our best to accommodate her. On New Year's, we all stayed on campus for the break, so her, myself, 2 friends, and my boyfriend, A, all spent the night together drinking and playing games in my apartment since my roommate had gone home. That night, she made a passing comment about how she thought my boyfriend was hot, and she would love him to be her New Year's kiss.
Jesus.
I just chalked it up to drunken confessions and ignored it since she didn't make any moves. At one point, she did fall into his lap, but he removed her quickly.
Things are getting
Yikes.
salacious.
Now for this trip. We had to seek out accommodations. We downsized our group to just me, S, J, and A, which is boyfriend.
Okay.
J is friend in question, and A's friend. We were looking at a 3-bedroom apartment on Airbnb with enough beds to have everyone sleeping comfortably. While discussing sleeping arrangements with S and J, Jay decided to half joke about how she wanted to sleep with A and that I wouldn't be mad since we've gone on breaks to see other people before.
Whoa.
Note, A and I have been dating for 3 years at this point. We've broken up to see other people once before in our first year when we went on summer break.
Yikes.
I expressed discomfort at this joke and she kept brushing it off, but I really don't trust her. While talking with S privately, she also said that it was a bit weird. I ended up shifting the dates of our stay and place tickets by 1 day, which would prevent Jay from being able to attend due to her work schedule. At first, I just said it was because those were cheaper dates, but she seemed to pick up immediately that it was done because of what she said.
It's like she fact-checked and thought, wait, it's the same price.
She's now calling me a manipulative bitch and cursing me to hell. S said it was a bit unexpected, but she understands why I did it, as well as why Jay is mad. A has no idea because we haven't involved him in the situation. He just knows the new dates and is fine with them.
A knows.
Oblivious man.
How does A not know? How does S not tell A? Who's S? How does the OP not tell A?
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
Story time about how I came out as bi to my parents. Disclaimer, this is not my story time. It was sent to me on Instagram. By the time I was 12 years old, I definitely knew I was bi. By the time I was 14, I'd already had a girlfriend and a boyfriend, but my parents did not know any of this. When I was 15, I even had a girlfriend for a full year. She would come around the house and I would say that she was my friend. But one day my mom walks in on me and my friend making out on the bed without our shirts on. My mom was so horrified that she actually ran out of the room. Later I explained to her that we were just playing a game and that it was popular at school. I basically convinced her that I was not bi. Or at least I thought I did. Later on that day, my dad comes to my room and basically asked me if I liked girls. I swore up and down that I didn't. Then when I was 16, I found myself having 2 girlfriends, don't ask me how. Again, they would each come over and I would just say they were my friends. I thought I was home alone, so I invited my girlfriend over. We start fooling around and that's when my door opens. My dad is looking at me getting it on with another girl. Part 2 is up. My dad walks in on me while I was fooling around with the girl in bed. Mind you, I'm a girl. Disclaimer, this is not my story time. It was sent to me on Instagram. Keep in mind, I had half of my clothes on. My dad literally picked me up from the bed and threw me out of my room. Then he kicked my girlfriend out. It was definitely traumatizing. My dad called my mom and told her to rush home. They interrogated me for 3 hours. I told them I'd had girlfriends and boyfriends. They were more than shocked. They finally calmed down and I was able to go to sleep. 2 days later, my dad tells me to pack my suitcase. I asked him why, but he wouldn't tell me. Then he drove me to a camp that promises to help your children who are bi. Instead of being afraid, I told my dad that I would try my best. I lasted about 2 days there. They basically made us do Bible study, and I was made to feel like a perv. So I packed my little suitcase and I left. So of course, I packed my suitcase, climbed 2 walls, and I was free. That's when I heard a really scary alarm. Part 3 is up. I thought I was free, but then I hear an alarm sound. That's when I heard footsteps behind me. I started running and I got to a main road. Luckily, a bus was pulling up right on time. I get on the bus and I go straight to my girlfriend's house, which was about 2 hours away. That means they would have already told my parents I had escaped. Well, when I get to my girlfriend's house, my parents are already there. But guess what? My parents weren't there to pick me up. They were there to drop off all of my things. Yep, that's right. They kicked me out of the house. Thankfully, my girlfriend's family were super cool and they let me live with them. When I turned 18, I got an apartment and a roommate. My entire family stopped talking to me. It's been 4 years since I last saw my parents. I recently got hired at my dream job, so I went to my parents' house and I told them. I also came out to them properly. At least this time I was not yelled at. I speak to my mom on the phone every now and then, but I feel like I should talk to my dad again. What do you guys think? I just want them to accept me.